The Great Reset, a term that is most notably associated with tinfoil hats and grand conspiracy theories involving mysterious figures in global positions of power. In this video, we look at the Great Reset from another angle, focusing on the facts presented by the very people who coined the term, the World Economic Forum. And yes, there is a real thing called the Great Reset. This is not some lunatic conspiracy theory. It's literally the name of the 50th annual meeting of the WEF held in June of 2020. A conference that essentially brings together high-profile business and political leaders hosted by Charles, Prince of Wales, with the theme of rebuilding society and the economy in a sustainable way following the COVID-19 pandemic. Many people are under the impression that part of this push to rebuild society involves an agenda to remove house ownership and replace it with renting. Part of the American dream has always been to own a home, and recent developments have put stress on this long-standing idea of home ownership. Housing prices have exploded in the last 16 months, and they are showing no signs of slowing down. One massive story that was making headlines across the country and even trending on Twitter was the BlackRock debacle. According to many reports, BlackRock, a massive multinational investment firm with over $8 trillion in assets under management, began buying up entire residential neighborhoods, offering as much as 30, 40, and even 50% over normal prices just to purchase large number of single-family homes across many up-and-coming cities in the United States. This infuriated many people who claimed it was crony capitalism. How can everyday Americans compete with multinational banks in an already heated market? Many argued for legislation to prevent companies from continuing this practice, and many more defended it, claiming it was all part of the capitalism game. Here, conservative free market specialist Ben Shapiro had this interesting take.
Simultaneously, you're seeing people get ticked off at corporations for doing what exactly it is that they do, which is they see a cheap debt instrument available to them, and they immediately start taking out loans and then buying up hard assets. Now, there are people who get angry at the corporations for this. You're getting angry at the wrong people. I may not like it either, but the point is that unless you stop the Federal Reserve from pumping money into the system, corporations are going to take cheap loans, and then they're going to use those loans to arbitrage. They're going to take the loans at 0%, and then they're either going to lend it out at 3%, or they're going to go buy hard assets they think are going to appreciate at 3% or more over the course of the next 50 years. This is leading to massive price inflation, especially in real estate. So there's a big story that came out yesterday, and a lot of people right, left, and center are really mad about it. And this is where populists go wrong. Not because they are wrong in being angry about things, but because very often they're angry at the wrong people. Okay, it is not a corporation's fault if cheap loans are available, that they are taking the cheap loans and then going and buying real estate. Any more than it would be their fault if cheap loans are available and they go and they take the cheap loans and then they buy stock.
So what is the future of housing if this is the road we are headed down? Before we answer this question, please consider smashing that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. Now back to the video. With easy money policy being pushed by the Federal Reserve, undoubtedly this practice will continue, and it will surely add even more pressure to the already heated markets. In fact, BlackRock is not the only big name doing this. There are dozens of institutions in this space, often called SFR portfolios or single-family home portfolios. One of these is SVN, and if you head to their website, you can read all about what to expect for the future. They're not even trying to hide it. It's right there in the open. One shocking fact that may surprise you is the truth about how much institutional ownership there is in single-family homes. Right now, institutional ownership in the SFR market is less than 2%. That's tiny and barely even affects the overall market prices. But analysts project that of the 3.9 million new rental households that will be coming to market by 2021, nearly 41% will opt for an SFR rental property, according to Magnify Capital. The opportunities for these companies are clear. Just read the next paragraph. It tells you exactly what's going to happen. Quote, as Wall Street is catching up, merging its SFR investment leaders and generally repositioning trillions of dollars for SFR investment in the next few years, we believe there is currently a huge opportunity to acquire small existing asset portfolios through assemblage and also build new homes. Housing inflation has outpaced the broader inflation rate for more than 80 consecutive months, and 225 of the past 250 months dating back to the mid-1990s. This stat has created a huge incentive structure for these giant multinational corporations to begin using their cheap loans to purchase hard assets that will surely outpace the interest on those loans and generate profitable yield. After completing a major demographic study projecting home ownership rates through 2030, the Urban Institute concluded that demand for rental housing over the next 15 years will dramatically increase. Analysts project that from 2010 to 2030, the growth in the rental household sector will exceed that of homeowners. Soon there will be 5 renters for every 3 homeowners. This idea that you will own nothing and be happy is actually slowly becoming a reality for many people in Western Europe. Germany, for an example, has a home ownership rate of 51.5%, one of the lowest in the world. With strict rules and sky-high prices, just about half of German citizens choose to rent. This comes as no surprise, with loan terms often requiring down payments of 30% or more, and housing prices averaging over $1 million in most larger cities. The big question, will the United States follow this path? Supposed experts from the WFE have written about this topic, most famously this infamous blog post in 2016 written by Ida Auken, a member of parliament in Denmark. She was famously quoted saying the following in an article that appeared on the WFE website for years before being taken down for undisclosed reasons. This famous slide contains this caption that encapsulates the road we are headed down. Quote, "Welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. It might seem odd to you, but it makes perfect sense for us in this city. Everything you considered a product has now become a service." While we can speculate if or when this type of system is coming to the United States, the facts on the ground here tell a very different tale. According to a 2020 survey, 84% of Americans claim buying a home is a priority for them. Changing this cultural attraction to own their very own space will be extremely difficult for anyone. Instead, I think organizations like SVN are projecting a bigger rental market not because of lack of demand and the changing of ideas, but rather affordability. You won't be renting because you want to or you're happy to, but rather you won't be able to afford anything else. Home prices are exploding, and according to many, this is not going to slow down anytime soon.
So I'm going to give you the classic example, okay? Lead story in the digital edition of the Wall Street Journal when I woke up today. U.S. existing home prices hit record high in May. All right, now this piece, like so many others, reads like Exhibit A in the case against Jay Powell, our valiant Fed chairman, who's trying to hold off on raising rates in order to boost job growth even as demand is constrained by supply, which makes overall sales look weak. High prices, weak sales, recipe for disaster? Now wait 1 second. First, Powell recognizes that a booming housing market is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. This is an industry that gives people good-paying jobs even if they don't have a computer science degree from Stanford. Plus, as I never get tired of telling you, housing punches above its weight in the economy. So you'd much rather have a rising housing market, which is about 10% of the economy, than a faltering housing market. Yet when you read these headlines about home prices hitting new records, they're almost always written like an arbinger of bad times.
The housing market in this country, unfortunately, as Jim Cramer so eloquently put it, is relatively healthy. Bad loans are not being given out, and prices seem to be surging organically, driven by a wave of new buyers, inflation, and lack of demand. According to many experts, a housing collapse is very unlikely, and you can see that with these big firms who are starting to buy up single-family portfolios. They wouldn't be buying up those houses if they didn't think that yields or price appreciation will be higher than usual over the long term. Remember that stat from the beginning of the video. Housing inflation has outpaced the broader inflation rate for more than 80 consecutive months, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're interested in crypto trading, don't hesitate to use my BlockFi link in the description. I currently keep about $5,000 worth of stablecoins, Bitcoins, and Litecoins using their service. And in just under 1 month, I have earned over $30 in interest. And the good news is that if you choose to use my link below, you will get up to a $250 crypto bonus with a deposit of $100 or more.